Hi everyone, it's Rhonda with the Stitch and Time Embroidery Designs, and today I'm going to show you how to make this cute little wall hanging decor using our Fringe Bee design. So let's get started. Okay, we're going to use black bobbin right now because later on we're going to use white bobbin when we're doing the fringe part. We want to be able to tell which bobbin threads we need to clip to make the fringe and which ones we don't. And since part of the fringe is black, we're going to use a white bobbin when we get to that part. But right now, we want black thread in the bobbin or another color, just anything but white. And the first thing that stitches out is the base of the bee, the head, the little arms and legs or whatever they're called, and a base for the body that the fringe part is going to go over. And that way when you fringe it, you won't be able to see the fabric through it. It's going to have like a base to it. So we have that part done. Of course, this video is sped up a lot. This is going to take you just a bit longer. Those are the eyes stitching out right now. And this is the placement for the mylar that we're going to use for the wings. So those are the placement lines. We're going to cut a piece of iridescent mylar, that's the kind you can see through, and put it over the wing area. We're going to tape it on the edges so that it's nice and tight and flat over the wings. Tape it down really good and just put it back on. And it's going to stitch out all the lines for the wings. And these are just little running stitches that the machine is going to go over a few times so that it makes them dark enough for you to really see in that design. Okay, so after that is done, we're going to carefully pull away the excess mylar from around the wings. And I know it looks like I did it really quickly here because I have the video sped up, but I didn't. I took my time to make sure I didn't accidentally rip it out from inside the wings. Just use a tweezer if you need to grab some little tiny pieces from around the edges and clean it up. And we're going to take the hoop off and we're going to change it to white bobbin thread now because we're going to stitch the part with the fringe. And we want to be able to see that white bobbin thread. So this is going to alternate between yellow and black thread, the fringe parts here. And yes, I still have that sped up for the video. In reality, I'm stitching this out at 600 stitches per minute, just like I would lace. Since these are longer stitches and the machine's, going back and forth in a larger section than it normally does, I've slowed the machine down to 600 stitches per minute. And so you just keep alternating. And we're going to get all the fringes stitched out. Now this is one of our fringe designs that I feel looks really cute even before you fringe it. So if you wanted to leave it like this, I think it looks great like that too. But the texture, to have the texture part, after you fringe it, it is really cute like that. Okay, so that's all the fringe part. There is a little section in the middle of the black that just stitched that is not going to be fringed. So we're going to put the black bobbin back in for this last little circle that holds down the black fringe in the middle. We don't want to cut those bobbin threads. And now you can add lettering of your choice. That's not part of the design, but you can write whatever you want. If you have software, you can add lettering there. You can also add lettering from your machine itself. I chose to add Be Kind, but there are lots of things you can add there. Be inspired, be creative, whatever you want. Okay, so now we're going to use this little tool. This is my favorite tool to fringe. It's called That Purple Thing. The link to it is on our website under the Fringe Designs collection. You can use anything that'll pull up the fringe though. So you need some small scissors, a toothbrush, a clean toothbrush. This one has a little bit of fuzz in it because I used it earlier, but it's fine. So we're going to pop that out. And after a while, I'm going to spray those hoop marks with water and then iron the fabric. You won't even be able to tell they were ever there. So on the back side, you're going to cut just the white bobbin. That's it. So we're going to get a small scissors and we're going to cut where it shows white bobbin. Now, I used one of my single needle machines for this, and the bobbin just never seems to look consistent, or even all the way around on that machine. I probably should have done it on one of my smaller single needles because I have one in here that does bobbin beautifully. This one does not, but we're still going to cut it anyway. So we're cutting through the first layer of fringe, and I'm telling you that they're layered. So whichever one you can see all of the white bobbin on, that's where you start, and it's usually in that circle there. The toothbrush is for brushing away all the little threads that you've cut and trimmed away, just so you can see where you still need to cut. And I'll use that toothbrush a lot. So on the front side we'll go, and what we did was we just trimmed the bobbin threads on that black part that's stitched second to last. We're just using the little rounded hook area on this little tool here to pull those things, to pull the threads up. And if any of them are too hard to pull up, then you probably didn't clip the bobbin threads on the back for them. So instead of really fighting with it, just go on the back, clip some more bobbin threads, and then turn it over and pull it up again. So now that we have the black ones out of the way, you can see where the next layer is. You can see the white bobbin threads for the yellow part that was stitched right before that black part. So we're going to go and trim those threads. And I do take my time. This is sped up a little bit. So in reality, I was going a little bit slower and more careful, trimming those threads there. Brush it around, see if we found anything that we didn't cut, and just go and loosen up those yellow threads underneath the black. And we're going to continue to do this on the bottom of the bee too until we get them all done. You can't really cut them all at once because they're layered, sort of. So as you pull some up, you'll see more on the back side, more of them. Okay, so let's go back to the back. And now you can see the next layer that needs to be cut. Wait, those are some I missed, so I'm going to cut those because I can pull the yellow ones out on the front there. Okay, so next we have right underneath where we cut those yellow ones, you can see a little line of white bobbin thread right there. That's going to cut the black row on the bee's bottom half of the body. That's going to loosen the fringe stitches on the little black layer right there. Sorry about my little bird. It just won't be quiet today. Okay, so that's that. And we just have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4 more layers to do. This is a quick little fringe design and it's fun. So now you see how easy it is to see the yellow ones next. Going to do the same thing, clip those white ones. And I'll tell you right here, if you accidentally clip some of the other threads, all that happens is instead of it being a loop, it'll just be a straight. See how what we're seeing now is looped threads? If you cut the yellow on the back instead of the white by accident or the black by accident, it's just going to make a straight thread instead of a looped thread. So it's not that big of a deal. When you have a machine like this one that is, the bobbin threads are kind of jagged looking and they're not in a nice neat line, then sometimes that happens. And here we'll pull these up. I kind of find these fringe designs nice and relaxing. Put a movie on, and just go back and forth, cutting it and trimming it. All right, we're going to cut the yellow one right there. The little toothbrush comes in handy to be able to see what we're doing on the back. Pull up those. And you shouldn't have to fight too hard with it. So, like I said before, if you find an area that you really can't get to come up, it usually means you just didn't cut the all of the bobbin threads on the back in that area, and you can just flip to the back, look for them, and cut them away. And we have a black layer, and then our last yellow layer. I love the textured look of fringe. And there we have the last one. So see how everything else has black bobbin? So you know those are places that you're not going to cut. Makes it kind of easy. We did that on most of our fringe designs in the directions. We use black and white bobbin interchangeably like that. Okay. So now we want to make this cute little bee kind design. We're going to use an 8-inch hand embroidery hoop. They're really inexpensive on Amazon. I have some felt here that I took the inner ring from the hoop, and I'm just going to draw inside the circle and cut it out. That's going to make the back a little bit neater. We're just going to cut this out and put it aside, and we're going to use that on the back side to make it nice and neat. You don't really have to. I just saw it as an option, and I thought it made it look nicer, especially if you're going to give this as a gift. Okay, so I've already sprayed the hoop. I've ironed it. Can't see the hoop marking on it anymore. I trimmed the stabilizer, and now we're going to put this inside of the hoop. The screw at the top is going to be where I'm going to put a ribbon and hang it like that. So we're going to try to center this. Just move it. The inner hoop is on the bottom. The outer hoop is on the top. Fix it to where it's centered. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here. I tightened up the little screw at the top. Have it in the center like I want it. And then I'm going to trim the excess fabric all the way around. I'm leaving 1.5 inches, 2 inches. I probably could have left a little bit more. That's not 2 inches I left all the way around, but it's probably better if you do. Leave at least 2 inches. Trim it all away. We're going to use 2 strands of thread for the extra strength. And we're just going to stitch a quick basting stitch all the way around the edge. And excuse my hand sewing skills. No one's going to see this unless they take it apart. So you really don't have to be that neat. All we're using this for is to gather all the fabric towards the inside of the hoop. So you don't have to be neat. I did cross over the beginning and the end a little bit, kind of overlap them a little bit. So I made sure that the whole thing would be gathered in. And I also used a lot of starch in this linen fabric that I used, so it was a little bit hard to pull in like that. If you want to starch your fabric, probably just starch the areas that you're going to embroider on. It might make this part easier. All right, so we'll just trim that off, and we're going to tie a knot. This is also easier if you have somebody with their finger on the middle, where you're tying that knot, and kind of hold that in. So see how it drew it all in? And then we're just going to pin our piece of felt all the way around. And the way I'm pinning it, like sticking it in and flipping the pin the other way, is kind of pulling it nice and tight on the back. And then we're going to do the same thing. I just used embroidery thread to do this. And again, this doesn't have to be really neat, but I am just going to hand stitch that felt in place all the way around. And I got that thread caught on everything I could possibly get it caught on when I was trying to do this. But I eventually got it. Hand stitching's not too bad. So what I did was I made a stitch in the linen, and then I, got it underneath the felt and pulled it up so that I kind of capped that felt tight all the way around. And of course, I just cut out a big chunk so you didn't have to be bored watching me hand stitch all the way around. But see how it kind of neatens up the back, and I probably could have even found some felt that was the same color as the linen or pretty close to it. Doesn't really matter. That's going to go up against the wall anyway. But it does help the back look really nice. And so after that is done, all you have to do is find a pretty ribbon and tie it around the screw on the top. And you have a nice little wall hanging that. All right. I hope you had fun stitching out our little fringe bee design, and it gave you all the confidence you need to try some of our other fringe designs at a stitchandtimedesigns.com. See you soon. Bye.